I started on my own business around 2008 when we started Insynch Consulting. It was a huge decision for me at the time. There were multiple changes going on in my life. And it was a bit of a leap because I grew up in a home where my parents owned many different businesses, small businesses, and it was a rough go for them, so I definitely knew that I didn't want that for my life. But as it turns out, I have a certain skill set and enjoy the work. In my professional life, I was actually working with a lot of entrepreneurs and helping them, coaching them in how to do better accounting, better managing of their businesses. And so going out on my own, it kind of was a reflection of, well, I can't just talk the talk, I have to walk the walk. It was a huge leap, and in hindsight, I'm just kind of sorry I didn't do it sooner. So I got involved in being an entrepreneur around about 2008 after many, many years of contemplation. A few years ago, there was a book written by Calvin Helene, and he spoke to the need to having these types of companies with First Nations, and he actually has done a number of tours to China to have a look at different manufacturing styles and that sort of thing, and brings an entourage with him when he goes. And so part of wanting to shift the paradigm of how First Nations economic circumstances are, there was a lot of buzz about how to go about doing that. And so through that process and being a management consultant, an opportunity came up. It was something that I was actually supposed to be doing a feasibility study on, working with a First Nation on launching this type of work. And at that time, because of their delays in making a decision, the people that had come forward to assist with the training and transfer of knowledge on how to do it, they were going to walk.
Right.
And I just really couldn't see that happening. I knew that the preliminary numbers that I was looking at, it was feasible. I was already starting to see that it was feasible. And I think the First Nation could see that too. They just weren't ready to take that leap of faith. And so I just knew that this type of operation really had to happen. And so I thought, well, I'll start it myself. I'll make sure that it's a very successful business operation. The lead product that we offer is a vehicle safety whip, which is a product that is required on any open pit mining site in Canada. Now, Alberta oil sands have very specific requirements. They have to be 12 feet in the air, they have to have an amber light on them, they have to have a fluorescent flag, and so we manufacture to those specifications. Because our biggest part of the market right now is the oil sands. But we're not closed to other circumstances and other types of manufacturing processes along the way. We can do clear lights, and we can modify various parts of what it is we're doing to accommodate what industry standards might be. I know that there's a lot of environmental concerns, certainly with the oil patch, which is the place that we're catering to. We're supplying safety materials for oil and gas, predominantly in northern Alberta. And so I do try to keep in mind that really what we want to do is, we're probably not going to stop these companies from moving forward, and an entire environmental process must take place, and we support that. But at the same time, to participate, and participate in a good way. And so what we do train and try to have our philosophy here is that we all know someone who works in the oil patch or in the oil sands, whether it's a relative or a friend, and we want them to come home safe.
Yeah.
So we put a little bit of love and effort into everything that we do on a daily basis, because it's important that those people come home. Right. And that's the contribution that we're making within the economic circumstances of Alberta. Insynch Consulting, well, it's a diverse company, a very well balanced company, because there's really started out with a number of different partners, but it boils down to two very significant people now, myself and a non-Aboriginal lady. We do cater a lot in the First Nations and Aboriginal business world, both on a community level and or on a business and economic development level. The work that we do, both of us are very passionate about seeing First Nations, Métis, Aboriginal communities excel in today's circumstances.
Right.
So a lot of the work that we do has to do with planning, with capacity building, with seeing change in a good way at a community level. And so we've worked on some very interesting projects with First Nations and with the Métis community over the last number of years in trying to see improvements at a community level for the Aboriginal community. And that's sort of a broad way of saying, it's not just going out to an Indian reserve or a Métis settlement area. We work with the urban Aboriginal community as well. In just kind of going for coffee with other business women, we started kind of a little bit of a complaint session about the old boys club, and we're very progressive women, and so we'll cry over spilt milk for a little while, but what we're really good at is what can we do to change that instead of just complaining about it. And so we've now started up Aspiring Women in Leadership and Legacy. And that is sort of my newest project with regard to not-for-profit. Myself and two other ladies have gotten together to try and develop what we think is definitely needed in the area of trying to, again, improve the quality of life, quality of work, quality of careers for women. And in that, we want to make sure that we're doing this not just for the Aboriginal community, because that's where a lot of our focus lies, but for a very diverse group of women. We want women from all backgrounds, whether you are a career woman or you've chosen to spend a good chunk of your life raising a family. I mean, these are all different parts and parcels that need to be fostered and grown. And if you're very far in your career or really good at what you do, maybe you have something that you'd like to offer back to the community. Remember, you come from good stock, and recognize that yes, we had these hardships, but we can get past them. And the only way we're going to get past them is through bringing tradition into the contemporary. Culture is not static, but you have to have a good, strong sense of your culture in order to be successful in today. And you have to have, so you kind of have to be two people. You got to be able to look back, but you also have to be able to look forward. So this year, 2015, the Alberta Chamber of Commerce has bestowed upon me a rather significant award as the Aboriginal Woman Entrepreneur of the Year. As well behind me, I've got my management degree from University of Lethbridge. It was done with distinction. And so I always have this up in my office. It's got the Métis sash in with my degree. The Métis sash, of course, being a rather significant symbol of the Métis people.